guys, it's April and the Christmas tree is up. Yay! Which means this is, of course, my November wrap-up. We've got 1 month left this year and it's gonna be probably extremely chaotic, but I think I can reach all of the things I wanted to achieve this year. It's gonna happen. I'm bound and determined. So you guys, I had fun these last 2 weeks, if you can't tell. There was that Thanksgiving weekend this past weekend and I may have gone a little crazy with the reading, trying to catch up, and just because I had time and it was amazing and glorious and I loved every single second of it. Before I go into everything that I have read these past 2 weeks, I wanted to put out a reminder that if you haven't heard, the YA Booktube Awards is going to be happening again. So right now, nominations are being taken. So if you have any books that you really think should be talked about in the YA Booktube Awards this year, I highly recommend that you go and nominate them now. And of course, there is also the giveaways going on. I will link all the information down below, and I highly recommend that you check out all of the announcement videos that are all over the place with all of the judges. And of course, Elizabeth over at the Owlery has her video up as well if you want to know any more information. That was my shameless plug for the YA Booktube Awards. Go do that. You should really do that. But now, what you guys are actually here for is what has happened in the last 2 weeks in my reading life. And to start out with, I have Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray. Defy the Stars is the story of Naomi, who is from the planet Genesis, who is defending her planet against Earth. Genesis has decided that it wants to be independent from the people of Earth, and in the past there has been an epic war between the two planets, and Genesis is now its own entity, but Earth seems to still want the planet. So the skirmishes between Genesis and Earth have started up once again, and Naomi is one of the people who fights in these skirmishes. Through this conflict, Naomi finds herself on a journey to figure out how to save her planet and hopefully end the fighting for good. I wasn't expecting to like this book as much as I did. I went into it thinking, oh, it's gonna be one of those standard YA sci-fi stories where, you know, you've got this teenage girl who is epic for whatever reason and somehow saves the day, as always. I actually enjoyed seeing the universe that Claudia Gray has developed, and I found myself in a really weird spot because I was struggling to see Earth as the enemy, seeing as I am from planet Earth, and part of me was like, why would you want to break off from your origins? Why would you want to not be part of these people anymore? But then I realized that is exactly what the United States did with England. So I really have no room to question that decision. And I did like the little looks at all the technology and everything that's going on inside this book, and I am interested to see where this series goes because it has a lot of potential, even though it does take a lot of familiar tropes. I enjoyed it. I did. I really did. Then came these suckers right here. The rest of the Kitchen Princess series by Natsumi Ando. This, of course, several omnibuses worth. I just binged it. There was just a day where I just binged through all of these, and while at points it was extremely cheesy and it almost gave me a toothache reading these books, I loved it for what it was. I questioned some of the story and the plot of why you had to do that, but at the same time, I'm like, that is exactly what you're getting into when you pick up a manga like this. It's that over-dramatic nonsense that just is peppered with sugary sweetness, and you just can't stop turning the pages. And plus, you have desserts lured in through this book. And if I haven't said so far, this is just the most rambly review ever. Najika is the main character in the Kitchen Princess series. She is looking for the little boy who at one point in her past just turned her life around for her just by offering her a little sweet, just telling her that it was all going to be okay. And so she was on a mission to find this boy. And so that is what this whole series has been about, just trying to find this boy, and of course all the little adventures that happen and the foodiness, and it was great fun. I enjoyed it, and yeah, pure nonsense, but I enjoyed it. I also picked up Hiding in the Bathroom by Mora Aaron Mealy. This is an introvert's guide to getting out there. It has some suggestions on how introverted people who like to keep more to themselves and question whether or not what they should be doing in life is what they should be doing, and uncomfortable situations and how to deal with that. I am an introvert, if you haven't figured out by now. And it was interesting to see some of the perspectives on how you can mold your work life around the fact that you are an introvert, or you could typically work very well by yourself, which I understand completely. I do most of my best work, in my opinion, when you just leave me alone, do my thing. And I love the fact that my job lets me set my hours as need be. I have won the lottery with that. But the thing I have against this book, I think the biggest thing I have against this book, is how much it pushes you to be self-employed. You can very much tell the fact that the author thinks the best course of action is to be self-employed, to run your own business, to set everything up yourself because you have full control over that aspect. I don't necessarily agree with that because I can't see myself handling all of the responsibilities that could entail. And plus, there is a lot of extroverted things you have to do when you own your own business, such as sell yourself. So I had moments where I was fighting against that a little bit, and it might just be because I have lucked out very much so in my job, in the fact that my introverted tendencies are exonerated and accepted and built up, and I am allowed a lot of freedom in what I do. So I don't see myself really wanting to go that path, even though it just kept on getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And there was a tiny little section for introverts in the corporate world, but basically most of the book was about being an introvert and just deciding to go and do your own thing, and that just might be the best thing to do. And then there was Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones. This is the second book in the Howl's Moving Castle series, though technically it isn't a series that you have to read in order. Theoretically, they can be read as standalones, even though past characters do make appearances in this book. If you don't read them in the right order, it won't kill you. This is the story of Abdullah, who is a daydreamer, and one day he finds himself in possession of a magic carpet, and suddenly there is a princess that needs rescuing from kidnapping. As you can tell, this has been heavily influenced by Arabian Nights, which I love. It was cute seeing all of those little references inside. I didn't enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed Howl's Moving Castle, and I think part of that was because Abdullah wasn't really a character I could enjoy. He started out as that daydreamer character that I connected with a lot, but then there were points where I just wanted him to have some intelligence that he just didn't really possess. So there was a lot of situations that I found unnecessary just because he was the way he was, and I couldn't bring myself to fully enjoy it because of that fact. There was a lot of nonsense that I felt wasn't what I wanted, which is weird to say because I do truly enjoy nonsense, I'm not gonna lie. But it was good to see that there were some strong female characters within this story. They pretty much could save themselves, which I've always loved about Diana Wynne Jones. She does that, and it's glorious. I then picked up The Rising by Heather Graham and John Land. This is the story of Alex Chin and Samantha Dixon, who are two teenagers who find themselves in a very bizarre situation. Alex Chin, after having a concussion playing football, is taken to the hospital where some weird things start happening, and Samantha, who is interning at NASA, starts to notice some weird phenomena going on, and they start connecting the dots, and of course they at one point come together and start dealing with some weird things. I'm trying to give a description of what this book is without completely destroying all of the surprises and giving you the whole storyline. But it is safe to say that these two end up on a very bizarre adventure together, learning some things about Earth that they didn't realize was true, and some secrets that entities have been keeping from us. It was a very fun read. There was a lot of cliches going on, and some of the names, I'm like, really? You couldn't be more creative with all of this? But for what it was, for pure entertainment value, it was great fun, and I'm probably gonna pick up the next in the series. Last but not least, the book that I was most excited about is The Book of Dust, La Belle Savage by Philip Pullman. I was so excited when I learned that this book was going to be happening, and then when Barnes & Noble was having it signed on their Black Friday. Of course, I was gonna go pick it up. It was gonna be a thing. And then I proceeded to pretty much binge it in a day. That's the story of my life. The Book of Dust series, which of course this is volume 1, The Belle Savage. The Book of Dust series is set up to take place 10 years before his Dark Material series, which is The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass. I really enjoyed reading that series as a kid, and so to get more of this universe, please and thank you. This story takes place around a character named Malcolm, who is a young boy who works at his family inn, and he just hears a lot of things that goes on in the city. And then you start to see some of the characters from The Golden Compass pop up in the series, and you start to find out how things may have gotten to where they've gotten. Now, you don't technically have to have read The Golden Compass to read this series, but I highly recommend that you don't read this series before you read The Golden Compass, because this book will ruin some surprise plot points in that series. I'm just saying, that is my warning for the day. But I enjoyed seeing all the daemons, and of course, all of the magicalness with the dust and things like that. It was just great to get back into this world and get a little bit more of this world altogether. It makes me want to read his Dark Materials again. I need to get my hands on a copy, so. Once again, Philip Pullman is a great storyteller. You feel all of the same kind of things you feel when you read The Golden Compass, at least as far as I remember. And it is the story that pulls all of it along, and it's great. And I really need to know what's going to happen in the next books. So those are the books that I have read in the last 2 weeks of November, and I will state one last time, if you haven't nominated your favorite reads so far this year for the YA Booktube Awards, go do that. And tell me down below what book you are most hoping that you will get as a present at the end of this year for whatever reason, because people want to give you gifts. And with that, I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.